rise to strongly support the Chairman and the Ranking Member's initiative here on the Lantos-Hyde United States Global Leadership Against HIV/AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria Reauthorization Act. As we discuss how to support the President's emergency plan for AIDS relief, we have a chance to take on the most devastating diseases the world has ever known. The death toll from the AIDS epidemic stands at 22 million. Malaria will claim more than 1 million lives this year alone, most of whom will be children under the age of 5. This country has seen time and time again how the fate of the American people is intertwined with the fate of people all over the world. The AIDS epidemic is just one more case of that. More than 500,000 Americans' lives have been lost. Now, not just from a moral standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, a national security standpoint, and the standpoint of our own health as a nation, the fight against deadly diseases is a fight we're in all together. Addressing these diseases is not just a humanitarian endeavor, it is also in the national interest and national security interests of the United States. These devastating diseases are a destabilizing force for many countries in Africa, and it is in our interest to ensure that sufficient funds are available to make meaningful progress in this area. This bill moves us closer to that goal. The bipartisan bill we're considering offers ambitious but achievable targets, including supporting prevention of 12 million HIV infections, care for 12 million people with or affected by HIV/AIDS, including among those 5 million children, an antiretroviral treatment for an increasing number of persons whose rising target is expected to represent at least 3 million lives saved. Cutting funding would require a dramatic downsizing of these targets. Tuberculosis and malaria combined claim more than 3.6 million lives a year. The President's initial proposal of $30 billion did not address funding for these diseases except through the Global Fund. This bill, like its House counterpart, does include these diseases and increases the treatment goals for persons with HIV/AIDS, as well as for the treatment of children, thus justifying the additional authorization of funds. This is only to say that we have the ability to go up to that amount. It does not guarantee that we will spend that amount. The amendment that is being offered by the senator from South Carolina would slash the funding in this bill by almost a third. While international organizations estimate that achieving universal access to antiretroviral medications would demand $40 billion in resources, a number of the world's needs to do it all to achieve, this amendment shaves down America's contribution, putting medication further out of the reach of thousands of people. Madam President, this country, I chaired the hearing on behalf of the committee, and I know that Senator Lugar was with me during those hearings. This country hasn't gone into our greatest challenges half-heartedly. When we entered the Second World War, our allies knew we were in it with our heart and our souls. When President Kennedy announced we would go to the moon, friend and foe alike knew that we would not rest until we had allowed mankind to take that giant leap. This is our chance to show that America is ready to lead. We should come together as Republicans and Democrats, as Americans, as human beings, to stop this vast catastrophe, to attack it with all that we've got. This is about our vision for the world, a world where disease can be controlled, a world ultimately free from fear. If we act today to give PEPFAR full funding, it's more than just a powerful statement. We will have saved hundreds of thousands of lives, and that is the essence of this debate. That is what is at stake here right now. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. It is an expression of our humanity. It's an expression of the fulfillment of being able to do the one single thing that I think is the highest calling of public service, which is to save the life of another. It is an understanding that it is in our national interest and our national security interest, because disease knows no boundaries. We have faced that time and time again during the course of our history. If we believe that this is someone else's problem, we are sadly mistaken. And so this is a chance for us to lead. It's an opportunity to do it in a bipartisan way. I hope my colleagues will ultimately support the bill, the underlying bill, and certainly oppose the amendment from my colleague for South Carolina, so that we can fulfill that obligation. And with that, Madam President, I yield the floor.